What's up, guys? Welcome in to yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. I didn't tell you guys yesterday about what my biggest take was going out to New Orleans and asking a lot of very smart people what their take was on Kyler Murray. And the results, it may shock you. I'll see you guys in a few seconds.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Woo. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like callus. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show. Go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show. Go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up, guys? Welcome in to yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about the Ben Garcia Show as we go ahead and make it into yet another amazing morning of all things NFL, NBA, touching course on all things Arizona sports. Listen, I was very surprised, and go ahead and follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And, I already said this, but I'll just say it again. Go ahead, drop a like on the video if you feel like it. I'm not much of a beggar when it comes to likes or when it comes to those sort of things that you need on YouTube to stay relevant. I'd rather just be prideful and instead of asking than just go out of business type of thing. But either way, thanks so much for making me a part of your day, guys. A little late to the party this morning. Not super late, but late enough to where I did, I'm sure, annoy you a bit. So I appreciate you guys taking a little bit of time to sit in that waiting section for me. Anyways, let's just jump into it, guys. Good morning. And I want to start here. Last week when I was in New Orleans, I wanted to very clearly make my time worth it. Have to take time off for my normal job. Have to go out there. It just all has to be worth it, right? And my number one thing that I was trying to accomplish there is Kyler Murray the guy? And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to be able to get as high-ranking interviews as I did on Radio Row. I talked with Nick Wright of FS1. I talked with Will Hernandez, the Arizona Cardinals offensive line. I talked with Chris Sims of Pro Football Talk. I talked with Kevin Clark of The Ringer. I talked with numerous people, Dennis Pitta, Todd Heap. I still have interviews in the can that I still have to put out on YouTube, but those can take a little bit of time. They're pretty evergreen. Everyone I talked to, every single one, Nick Wright, Kevin Clark, Trevor Sikkema, these are all high-ranking officials. These are not people that I just made up. Will Hernandez, everyone, Kevin Clark, Todd Heap, Dennis Pitta, no one can quit Kyler Murray. No one. And I'll be honest with you. Going into that week, I was very skeptical of Kyler. In fact, I asked multiple people. It's another good one, Ivan. Dan Orlowski had him on the show. Also was not out on Kyler Murray. There wasn't a single person outside of one who was skeptical about Kyler, but wasn't out on his skill set or his talents. It was very eye-opening. And that surprised me to the 10th degree. Because I just didn't expect everyone to have so much grace for Kyler Murray in his 6th season. Next year is going to be year 7 for Kyler. And still part of me is saying, I don't know. I don't know how much I can believe in him for the foreseeable future as the Arizona Cardinals franchise quarterback for the next future, or for the foreseeable future. What I think is so interesting about it is everyone cited his talent, Everyone cited his accuracy. Everyone cited his mobility. But what I thought was so interesting is no one cited his late season collapse. I had to continuously remind people, Orlowski, Nick Wright, Kevin Clark, Will Hernandez, all these people who were not out on Kyler Murray. I had to remind everyone, hey guys, he did collapse to end the year. No one seemed to remember that. All anyone can remember is Kyler Murray's athleticism. That was the one thing to me that was incredibly shocking out on Radio Row. The one thing that I wanted to go set out and figure out in my time in New Orleans. Is Kyler Murray still the guy? How do other top-ranking media members feel about Kyler Murray? And from everyone I interviewed, Dan Orlowski, Kevin Clark, Nick Wright, Trevor Sikkema, local guys like Bo Brock and Johnny Venerable, Will Hernandez, the Cardinals offensive lineman, Todd Heap, Dennis Pitta. No one was out on Kyler Murray. Not a single person. All of them were over the moon about his talent, about his accuracy, about his mobility, and that genuinely shocked me. And it got me thinking, am I too hard on Kyler? Because I wanted him to be better over the stretch end of the season, where he threw bad interception after bad interception, each one worse than the last, where it made me really think, I don't know how much longer I can stand on Kyler. But whether it was Dan Orlowski or Nick Wright or Trevor Sikkema or whoever it was, whatever high-ranking person, Kevin Clark, they all said the same thing. No, you can win a Super Bowl with Kyler. And after you watch Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl, it really makes you think, well, maybe they're right. I'll stand by, I don't think Jalen Hurts is that much better, if any, than Kyler Murray. I don't think Jalen Hurts, especially in that Super Bowl, was asked to do a ton. Threw the ball 22 times, ran the ball another 10 times. They follow the formula that works for Jalen Hurts. But my opinion has done a bit of a 180 here. Maybe not a 180, but maybe a full 90 degrees. I'm ready to continue to roll it out with Kyler. I'm ready to see what he can do next year. In his third year in an offense, with more weapons, with a free agency. Hopefully he can be healthy again. But that was the one thing on Radio Row out in New Orleans that I was just absolutely astonished by. Because I've held this team accountable. I've held Kyler Murray accountable. I've given praise where it's due, and I've given criticism where it's due. And late in the season, it was a lot of criticism, because a lot of that was due towards Kyler Murray. But I got to be honest. When I talk face-to-face in interviews with some of the smartest analysts when it comes to the NFL and evaluating quarterbacks, at some point, maybe I just have to look myself in the mirror and say, I was wrong. Because Joe Schmo on the couch and myself live streaming in the mornings can feel one way about Kyler, but I got to be fair. It just seems like everyone else feels differently than us. And two things can be true. Kyler Murray can have had a horrific, just awful, abysmal second half of the season. And you can still win a championship with him. You just can't ask him to do everything. But if there was one thing on Radio Row that did surprise me, it was the fact of just how in NFL media is still on Kyler. Still in on Kyler. It's wild to me. I thought everyone was going to take victory laps about how right they were on Kyler. It was not the case. Dan Orlowski, one of the smartest NFL analysts out there, said there's things Kyler Murray can do that no one else can do, and we don't say that about everyone in the NFL. Nick Wright, although talked about potentially trading him and giving him a fresh start, he wasn't out on him. Trevor Sikkema almost walked off the set when I lofted at him that the Cardinals should think about potentially drafting a quarterback. Just as a backup plan. That's what the NFL media felt like. It got me thinking, maybe I'm just a little too hard on Kyler. And we'll see how it goes next season. But if there was one thing that shocked me, it was just how in the NFL media still is on that being Kyler Murray. Okay, so yesterday was interesting when it came to the Kevin Durant responding to trade rumors, and it just continues to show how dysfunctional the Phoenix Suns are right now. And this isn't a shot at Kevin Durant. I actually thought he handled himself and the media very well yesterday, and I wouldn't have necessarily expected him to be as cordial as he was. Not to say Kevin Durant isn't a professional, but I'd be frustrated too. If I was Kevin Durant and I was lofted up in trade rumors, I'd be frustrated. Put yourself in the shoes of Kevin Durant, but don't make it basketball. Make it whatever field of work you're in. What if you're a nurse and you found out that your boss was debating trading you to another state just because things weren't going super well in your hospital? You feel like you're the one that is being blamed for all the nonsense. And you feel like, well, great, now I have to uproot my life after I was the one who chose you? Yeah, I'd feel a bit betrayed too. And Kevin Durant is a bit of a sensitive guy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He's got rabbit ears. He hears everything. And I was surprised by Kevin Durant's comments yesterday. Here's how they sounded.
Man, this is part of the business, you know. Everybody's bought and sold in this league, you know, so anybody could be up for auction, you know what I mean? So I understand that. You know, it's just about getting back on the court, trying to go out there and play the game that I love, you know. It's a part of the business, though, man. We all got to understand that.
And James was talking about you being a pro, that you've heard it before throughout your career. Like, this is nothing new. But on the flip side, also it was out there that they were trying to trade you for Jimmy. So I'm asking, how do you feel about that?
I've been around noise before, where whole spotlights on your team and people got so much to say about the group. Yeah, I've been through that before. And like I said, I understand the business, and that's what we all signed up for. And nobody's above the system, you know, as much as, you know, how much status I got and how much I've acquired in this league, you're still not above the business, and I always understood that. So it's about doing the best I can on the floor, man, and focusing on that, keeping the main thing, the business, that'll take care of it.
I don't know if you caught that like I did, but Kevin Durant chose his words very carefully. He had said, the players are bought and sold in this league, auctioned off, and it's part of the business. Kevin Durant chose his words very carefully. If he really felt like it wasn't as big of a deal as everyone was leading on, he wouldn't have said people were being auctioned off. It wasn't the fact that he was calling it a business that bothered me at all. But to Kevin Durant's point, most of the time I don't side with Kevin Durant on these things. But the Phoenix Suns are operating in a horrible headspace. None of it makes any sense. Their ability to not talk with players when they could be potentially moved in trades is potentially the worst kind of management that you can do in the NBA. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, the way the Phoenix Suns treated Kevin Durant at the deadline is what was the beginning of the end of the Kevin Durant departure out of Arizona, out of Phoenix. I just don't think, especially with a guy like Kevin, who's a little hypersensitive, got a bit of rabbit ears, hears everything, that you can just talk behind his back, try to ship him back to the place that he left, and him just take that as if it's business as usual. It's no big deal. I don't buy any of that. And I can't blame the guy. I'd be frustrated too if my place of employment was telling me that, hey, you know, the trade didn't go through, but we were this close to trading you somewhere else. I mean, listen, I understand people talk about money in this league, and just because they make a lot of money, it doesn't bother them, but they're still human beings. And especially a guy like Kevin Durant, who's a bit on the more sensitive side, it's frustrating, and I get it. But all these issues, Matt Ishbia, James Jones, not talking to Bradley Beal about potentially moving him, not talking to Kevin Durant about potentially moving him. The way the Phoenix Suns are doing business is detrimental to the roster for years to come. Kevin Durant is a superstar player, and if he is spreading to other star players that the Phoenix Suns don't talk to their players when they could be traded, that is bad publicity. And Kevin Durant chose his words very carefully. Although I do believe he will get his money one way or another when it comes to getting his extension in just a few months here, I don't think he will play out his contract with the Phoenix Suns. Ishbia has been very vocal about wanting Kevin Durant to finish his career in Phoenix. And yesterday, Kevin Durant said, I can't see a year and a half down the line, and saying he wants to play out his contract here. He is being very clear. And the Phoenix Suns are botching all of this. Kevin Durant is very clear now about what he wants to do, and I get that he wasn't outwardly vocal yesterday because he is going to have a bunch of people come after him, fair or not to him, saying that it was him who wanted out of Phoenix and saying it was him that fielded trade offers or requested a trade. And it's already affected his legacy enough, and the fact that the Phoenix Suns fielded him in offers without talking with him, that's just going to add more fuel to the fire that Kevin Durant is a team hopper. It's not good. And the way the Phoenix Suns have been doing business over the past year and a half, it has just been operating on lunacy. None of it makes any sense. And if I'm Kevin Durant or if I'm other star players, why would I want to play here if management isn't going to be honest with me 24/7? And going from Kevin Durant finishing his career, I would be surprised if he finished his current contract with the Phoenix Suns. I think ultimately what you're seeing is the beginning of the end. The demise of this current chapter of the Phoenix Suns. It sucks, but I don't think Kevin Durant is on the roster come next November or whenever the next season starts. I think he gets moved in the offseason, which I think is probably the right move. But you don't want things to end poorly. And Kevin Durant came here with high aspirations, not only winning a championship, but bringing the first championship to the Phoenix Suns. And now it's turning into backstabbing or having to mend fences between the front office and Kevin Durant. So, just a bad look for the Suns. It's just been a bad look for the Phoenix Suns over the past 16 months, 15 months or so. Or you can even date it all the way back to Bradley Beal. And now you have the Tyus Jones debacle. They have continuously backed themselves in corners, and the Phoenix Suns have to realize they have no more moves to make. They're out of moves. They can't go get another player. They can't go allocate more draft picks. They can't even trade their 2032 pick anymore. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker aren't working. Tyus Jones didn't work. Bradley Beal didn't work. And now you're talking behind dudes' backs. None of it makes any sense. And, to respond to my guy Ivan in the chat, and sometimes I neglect the chat, so I apologize, but I appreciate you guys being here today. To play devil's advocate, we're 500. He brought here to help win a chip. Absolutely fine. That's not the way it works in the NBA. If you are a star player, LeBron, Luka, Kevin Durant, whatever it is, you have to be talked to by management when your name is being shipped out in potential trade rumors. You can trade someone, but you have to be upfront and honest about what is going on. So Just nonsense from the Phoenix Suns, and I think you can tell Kevin Durant's pretty pissed off. All right, guys, thank you so much for making me a part of your day. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I got a work meeting to head to this morning, so we're going to cut things a little bit short. I'll be honest with you guys. I have to work the Suns game tonight, and the game starts at 8. I'm not 1,000% sure I'm going to be able to get a Ben Garcia show out to you guys tomorrow morning, but I'm going to do my best to do so. I'll make an announcement if I end up deciding going against it. But either way, guys, I appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I will see you guys tomorrow. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And until tomorrow, potentially until tomorrow, I'm Benjamin Garcia, and it's been the Ben Garcia Show.